Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2016 career mode here for Season 3 in 2018. And today we're racing around the Canadian Grand Prix at the Circuit des Gilles, Villeneuve, and we're jumping straight into it for qualifying. And I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. The support has been absolutely mental, and I can't thank you guys enough at this stage where the F1 2016 game itself is so dead. So a massive shout out to you guys for the support on the series so far. But as you can see, we're currently in qualifying and we're jumping straight into it here, and currently on our first lap of the session on the super soft compound, just trying to get a feeler out for the track, and not using our fastest compounds just yet. And on our first lap we go only P8, not a spectacular lap by no means, but just trying to get a feel for the track and see how the car performs, making sure the setup is all hooked up on Saturday after practice. And then we jumped onto a set of ultra soft tyres, and our second lap was far more competitive, fastest first sector as you can see, and on the money straight away. However, on the exit of this corner here I just get a little bit too greedy and I just get on the grass and touch the wall, and I lose a bit of time, and it makes my second sector a little bit scruffy because going into the next chicane, as you can see now, I miss my apex a bit and then I get all out of shape and I get a bit of a poor line through this right left chicane. And the lap was still pretty damn good, obviously a big improvement compared to super soft tyres, but it was a lot of time lost and a lot of time that I left on the table there. So I thought I could improve and go for a better lap. That would put us to P7 ahead of Alonso though, crucially. But I was quite encouraged by that. When I saw that lap time I was like, right, okay, and I made that mistake. I've still got a bit of time on the table here, so I think I've got a good chance of bagging the top 5 if I really get the lap hooked up. So as you can see now, going on to the final lap of qualifying, and we're going to ride on board for the entirety of this lap, as it was my best lap of the session. And as we go into the first corner, third gear, pick up the apex and flick it right for turn 2. You've got to sacrifice the apex a little bit as you get the most speed through turn 1. Then going down this sort of short straight into turns 3 and 4, the chicane and right left. Sort of got to flick it left, avoid the wall on the right hand side, and it's been a bit of a scruffy exit there. Pretty poor traction to go through turn 5 into turn 6. Third gear, pick up the apex and take it easy on traction as we go now through turn 7. Avoid doing what I did last lap by keeping it nice and tight and getting us some good traction. And we're now currently up on our delta, recovering from where we made the mistake on the last attempt, as we now go through the right left chicane. This time a much nicer line through here, keeping it within the confines of track limits, and we're currently almost 4 tenths up on our lap, so a much better improvement this time around as we now go into the hairpin, the slowest corner on the track here. Second gear, take it very easy on the apex, then get the power on, try and get nice clean traction, which is absolutely critical as we go on to the back straight here. And now you basically wait for the DRS to become available right about now, onto the kink. And now we go flat out, run it down to the chicane. Vettel goes P1 on an improved lap time. But here we go into the final chicane. Drop it a couple of gears, down to 4th gear. Be nice and aggressive over the curbs. Avoid the wall on the outside, which I don't do. And I lose the back end and I smack into the wall. And it's a disappointing end to the lap. And it's going to have to be the lap that we had before that's going to give us a good position. But a disappointing one because I was 4 tenths up, and that could have got us at least ahead of Alonso. So that could have been a bit of a decent improvement there. But either way, P8 on the grid at Canada's not too bad. Once again, Fernando Alonso does qualify. So Daniel Ricciardo and Vettel getting a 1-2 for Ferrari. So the upgrades on the Ferrari car really working nicely here at Canada, and they're going to be hard to beat around here. But without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the race on Sunday for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right, so here we are then at Canada for round 6 of the season, and we're going across the pond this time for in North America, and getting away from Europe for a short stint here for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. And one of the best tracks in the Canada, one that I really enjoy driving, and one that I've always had pretty good pace around. And qualifying was no different. I mean, you guys would have seen in the preview clip, obviously previously, qualifying was looking really good. I think I could have easily cracked the top 5, but I just kept on bottling my lap. So I think definitely a higher finishing position in qualifying could have been on the cards, but overall it's been disappointing. The upgrades haven't really worked on the car, whereas Ferrari, for example, brought some big upgrades and they've got a 1-2 on the front of the grid. So looks like maybe going back to the next race in Austria, apparently Audi said they're going to try and rectify the upgrade once we come back to Europe. But for now, we're going to have to struggle with what we got, and in race pace we'll see how we fare. But looking at the race strategy here for the race, as you can see here, we're going to do a one-stop strategy, going straight onto the soft tyre, which is I believe a mandatory compound for this race, and we're going to try and make the one-stop work, try not to do the same mistake I did in kart where I did a pointless 2-stop, because the tyre wear was more or less okay for a 1-stop. So we're going to try and stick to the one-stop strategy and try and make it work. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into round 6 of the season for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right then, here we go. P8 on the grid, 5 red lights for round 6 of the season, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. Let's try and get a good start here off the line. Pretty good launch to Williams cars once again, especially Lance Stroll after a good start. I'm going to pick up the inside line though. No one's going to overtake me into turn 1, which is crucial. So now I'm going to have the outside for the first couple of corners here. Alonso's on my inside. I've got to leave him the room. I've got nobody on the inside line, so I can comfortably go on the outside of Alonso here if I want to. Alonso's just defending nicely from me there, so I'm going to have to sit behind him for now. So very nice start so far, keeping it all single file, fairly clean on the race start, but still a Ferrari 1-2, or I think a 1-3 out from what I can see. I think Hamilton may have got in between the two Ferraris, but let's see what our pace is like on these ultra soft tyres. It was pretty good in practice, and qualifying looked pretty good as well, so I'm feeling confident. I like my chances. The strategy of this race is to not really push these tyres. We're going to take it very easy, sort of ease them into the race a bit, caress the tyres, and make the one-stop work comfortably. So therefore we're not going to take any major risks. We'll only make the moves once we're convinced we're going to make them, and that sort of exit is not going to help me for the tyre wear predicament. But here we go, on to the back straight. Can I possibly get a move on Alonso here? He hasn't got much of a toe, so he's a little bit sort of by himself here. I've got a nice run on my teammate, and I've made the move up the inside, and I think I'm going to take him comfortably into the chicane, and there we go, up into P7 there. Crucially not costing Alonso much time. We've seemingly got like an 8-car breakaway here, and both Audis at the back end of it. So let's see what me and Alonso can do here, even though the car isn't at its best performance, because like I said, the upgrades haven't really worked around the circuit, but hopefully he'll come back to us in Austria. But so far so good. Good pace, holding P7 behind Sainz. Let's see if we can try maybe step up a pursuit of him and try and get closer to him. Right, I've got a slipstream on Sainz here at the hairpin. He's a little bit far back from Bottas, so exact same thing as Alonso last lap. Can I go for the move here? Let's try and get it slowed down on the brakes. He's on my inside, so I've got to leave him the room here through the chicane. I've gone around the outside, back end stepped on me slightly, but I've made the move work, and I'm up into P6. So right now, things are good in race pace terms. We're pretty much on the money for race pace in the fastest lap, so let's keep it going here. Vettel's leading the way, but I think he's under pressure. Sorry, I think Ricciardo's leading, but he's under pressure by Lewis Hamilton. So it's going to be very interesting in this race to see how this one pans out. Okay, so Verstappen has issues apparently, and I set the fast lap of the race last time round, so I'm really feeling it here, and I've got some good pace. Bottas is going to make the move on Verstappen, who seems to be struggling a bit, so we're going to have to watch this battle unfold. I'm going to try and pick my opportunities. We go around the outside of Verstappen here. Nice cheeky move there, and capitalising on the fact he may be down on power, maybe missing a gear possibly, and that's going to promote us up into P5 as the Red Bulls go side by side into the hairpin here, and I'm going to be right on the back of Bottas, and he won't have DRS, whereas I will. The Mercedes will pull away from me a little bit in a straight line, but I'm going to open up the rear flap. And look at this, we're going to make the move on Bottas here. I'm going to go to the outside this time, as it should be a fairly comfortable move, and there we go. Meanwhile, Ricciardo and Hamilton going at it for first place, and I think there's been contact, and Vettel's got caught up in it, and I've got a great run on Lewis Hamilton here. I'm going to pull to the inside. Can I get Sebastian Vettel as well? It's going to be very close. Can I go around the outside of turn 1? I'm going to take the outside line, which will become the inside for turn 2, and there we go. I've made it work, and I'm up into second place. I don't know what's going on here, but the AI seem to be tripping over each other, and I'm just picking up the pieces right now. Verstappen's got issues. Ricciardo, Hamilton and Vettel were all losing time with the battle, and I'm now into second place. So these are this is a throwback to Spain almost, but this time I feel like I've actually got a bit of pace around here. Maybe the upgrades are working better in race pace for the car, because it's definitely not working in qualifying, but in race pace it's a different story. So let's try and chase down Ricciardo, but I feel like we might be under pressure by Sebastian Vettel very soon. Okay, I'm going to be within DRS of Ricciardo. I'm starting to notice here a bit of a pattern emerging, but the big thing here I've noticed is our straight line speed's pretty good around here, and I'm not running a particularly low, high speed setup, or really a particularly high downforce. It's sort of in the middle, so I don't know if they are running a lot of downforce, but the car is performing nicely in the straight lines here, and I'm very impressed. The pace is still very good here, almost hitting that fast up of the race, so I'm liking my chances here. I'm very surprised with the performance of the car. Maybe the upgrades are just better designed for race pace and obviously running on high fuel load. So this is really working out a treat for me around here, because the car's performing miles better than in qualifying. So let's just keep it going here. I'm not going to complain. The car feels great, so we're just going to keep it going. Ricciardo's in first. He's got some good pace. I'm going to struggle to get past him because his straight line speed is still good. But crucially, like I said, ours is not that bad. So let's see if we can try and get past the Honey Badger here. Oh, we've got a yellow flag behind. I think something's happened at the final chicane. Hamilton's now into third place. So one of there's been an altercation between Bottas and Vettel. Oh, that's a big one there. I've lost the left front end plate. I'm on orange, so I think that's going to have to be a pit stop there. That's not ideal. The AI, just the way they brake check when the safety car comes out, it's just not good, man. It's dangerous, but I think I'm going to come in this lap. I'm going to have to change my strategy. I think I'll still be able to pull off the one stop because I was pitting lap 11 anyway, or there or thereabouts. So we'll switch over to softs and see if we can try and make the one stop still work. But we're going to have to avoid hitting the back of Ricardo because he's getting very weird at a very weird speed here. Right, so I'm going to come in for my first and hopefully only stop of the race. It's going to be a slow one because I'm going to have a front wing change. Ricardo's going to pit with me, so it's not going to be a pit stop battle because obviously I've got a front wing change, but I can try my best to try and stay in second place. I've got a good gap to Hamilton behind me, so who knows? If the pit stop's quick enough, we may just be okay. I think Alonso's pitting behind me, so please, Audi, don't take too long. But here we go then, into the pit lane. Let's see what the stop is like. Front wing change onto soft tyres. It's looking pretty good so far. Just try and get it screwed on quicker. Come on, here comes Alonso. I don't want to hold him up. That's a pretty good front wing change there. 7.9, and I've come out obviously behind Ricardo. But the question is, how many cars are between myself and the Honey Badger? From what I can see, there's only 2 cars, and there's both of the sorry, it's a Prima car and I think a Haas car. So not too bad. On soft tyres now. I think everyone's going to go into softs now. So strategy is going to be fairly straight line. And fairly simple, fairly linear. So now we just got to see what our pace is like on this tyre once the race gets restarted. So yeah, let's cut on to the restart. Okay, so the safety car is coming in now. We're going to crank up into rich mix, wait for the restart. We're going to have to get through a lot of traffic here, so we need to make the moves, and we're going to do them straight away as we go green flag here at Canada through the final chicane, making the move on Mick Schumacher straight away, losing the back end though, not good, but we have made it work. Can't make the moves nice and quick. I think Massa and Vettel may have jumped the train, and they may have actually jumped ahead of the net race lead. So I think it's Vettel now in first and Massa in net second. So actually no, I can see Ricardo. So Ricardo's managed to stay ahead of Vettel. So there you go. Right, here we are then behind Vettel and Massa now. And Massa and Vettel pit very dangerously there. Just having to avoid that. And that's a really weird pit stop because they came in not long ago. But we've got a yellow flag up ahead. There's been a huge crash. Absolutely massive crash. We're going to cut through the entire incident. We've got 2 illegal overtakes here. So we're going to have to let Kubica and Kvyat through us. A huge crash. Hamilton's out of the race. That's massive. Huge crash at turn 1. I don't know what's just happened there, but that is massive. We're going to have to get multiple perspectives on that, and I might even have to cut out for some post commentary to analyse that one. But that was a massive crash, and we're going to have to try and keep on going here. But wow, that was massive. Okay, so let's dissect the incident a little bit here, and kicking things off with Gasly, as you can see, picking up a toe on the Renault Kubica, and then Rosenqvist, bang, slap bang, just a big swerve on the straight, and then it collects Gasly, and Rosenqvist actually gets severe damage, ripping off his front right suspension, and he's out of the race. So a big crash there from those guys. Now looking at Romain Grosjean's point of view, just from behind these two, there's Gasly in front, and I think he's going to get collected. Yes, he does. Gets collected, gets some front wing damage, and then some more front wing damage, losing the entire thing, and he's actually backwards, facing into turn 1, and then later on, Lewis Hamilton, who we saw was out of the race. There is that Hamilton. He just gets a huge crash, and I think he rips off his suspension also. So that's Lewis out of the race. But we're going to get another view from Mick Schumacher. This was further back at the chicane before the incident happened. He's getting alongside Magnussen to make it 3 wide, and then there's no way it's going to work 3 wide into the chicane, and he goes for a spin. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton continues on, and I think he's going to approach the incident. He's going to slam straight into Grosjean here. Let's wait for it, see what happens. And bang, there you go, straight to the clerk, and then into Grosjean. So a double crash there for Lewis Hamilton. So a big incident for the British driver. And then finally, the final point of view from Kevin Magnussen, who gets collected in the incident by hitting the back of Lewis and going straight onto the grass. So a pretty damn big incident there. And we're now going to move back onto the live coverage of the race. Right, Kvyat's going to go for the move on Hulkenberg on the brakes into the chicane. I'm going to sit back and watch this unfold. Oh, that's very close. Almost lost my front wing. I'm going to get a nice exit though. Can I look to the inside of these guys? It's going to be very hard. Kvyat's on my inside. Can I get Hulkenberg on the brakes? Yes, I can. And it wasn't Kubica. I thought it was a Kubica, but it's Nico Hulkenberg there. But we made the move. Kubica's up in second place. So the Renaults, out of nowhere, are now in a very nice position this race to score some great points. And Robert Kubica could be on for a possible podium here. I mean, it's a bit out there, but you never know with the strategy he's on. I don't know if he's done a pit stop already, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that one. But right now we're in 3rd place. We've got no near rivals in terms of sheer pace competitors, so right now things are looking really good for us. And after that crash, I'm a little bit lost, and also the safety car, as to what the net race order is. So we'll have to see. I'm going to try and go to the end to try and sort of stabilise this race a bit. But I think I'm in a net 1st place, but I'm not confident enough to say that because I don't know who's in P1. Personal lap of the race. it's Sergio Perez who's in the lead of the race, so he's doing a good job. I'm catching these two very quickly. Hulkenberg and I think Kvyat are forming a pretty big train behind me, where Alonso I believe is running the mix of that train, so we'll see how that one pans out. But right now it's comfortable for me in P3, so I think I'm in a net race lead, and my pace is good enough to catch these two guys anyway and overtake them fairly swiftly, so things are looking good for me right now. And unless there's another safety car or something, I'm looking pretty comfortable for at least maybe a podium. So let's keep it going here. 20 laps to go, and things are looking really damn good here at Canada. Okay, so I'm right up Kubica's chuff. Alonso's coming to the pit lane, so that's a very weird pit stop. I wonder if he run into ultra softs after the pit stop. So Alonso presumably doing his last stop of the race. It's a shame because he was looking good for a podium, but that stop might just set him back a little bit too far now. Meanwhile, I'm very close to Kubica here. I thought about a dive into that corner, but I want to take it easy because there's no need for me to make a mistake. I've got no pressure. I've got a nice gap to Sainz behind me, so there is no pressure to make a reckless dive or a stupid move. So let's sit behind Kubica for now, and if I have to, I'll just pass him comfortably on the back straight of DRS, because also I don't want to ruin anybody else's races, and especially Kubica's, because it would be poetic justice that he would score an incredible result in the race where obviously he won his one and only Grand Prix and also had this huge crash. So there we go, we got past Robert now, and I'm in the second place. Perez there in first place in the Force 1, doing a good job, just like in Spain, really showing what he can do when he's got a bit of clear underneath him. But here we go then, DRS wide open. That Renault's pretty quick in a straight line, but luckily Kubica's not going to get past us, so we're going to hold on to second place, and we can now go after Sergio Perez. Right, Perez comes into the pit lane, so that's going to promote me into first place, and that's something I never thought I'd be saying after qualifying. The car's working absolutely beautifully, and that's going to promote Robert Kubica into P2 again. Wow, unbelievable. Perez goes to the Superstar, so I'm guessing he's going to win the race. Kubica I'm expecting in very soon also for his first stop of the race, but wow. This has been a very weird Canadian Grand Prix, full of action, full of incidents, and a great race overall so far. So let's see what the next 15 laps has in store. Interestingly, Kubica is still staying out. I think he's done a pit stop. If he hasn't, then he's now in ultra soft territory, and he'll be the only man in the top 10, I believe, to do so. So Kubica, I don't know where he's going to come out. Hopefully, I mean, I'd love to see him come out and see him clean and just push them ultras, but we'll see where he comes out. But right now, he could be on for a podium here if he gets this all right. Meanwhile, Perez doing a fantastic job. He's in a net P2 now, you could say, and he's on fresh super soft tyres, and he's keeping Sainz behind him, who I believe is a pit now off of his ultra soft. So right now, Perez is on for a second place for Force 1, which is absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so Kubica pits now. I'm very intrigued to see what tyre he puts on, because I genuinely want him to get a podium. So let's see what tyre he goes on. He's still on softs. Let me see, I wonder, there you go, onto ultras, so my suspicion is confirmed. So Kubica's going to have a very nice final stint here. He's now down to P4, Sainz is now overtaking him on the soft tyres, and I believe Sainz is going to the end. But like I said, Kubica's got the advantage of fresh ultra soft tyres, and the Renault's not the fastest car, but I mean, it's doing a pretty good job here today, so he's going to be 2 compounds softer than Sainz, who's on used tyres, so I'd love to see Kubica get it on the podium. Okay, Charles Leclerc has just retired from the Canadian Grand Prix, so we'll see if that triggers anything, but so far it's not triggered nothing. I've just passed the pit entry now, so I hope nothing gets triggered. He's broken down just on the exit of Sector 1. I think we're not going to get anything, luckily, so we should be okay. So that's going to help me out, because I'm going to have a nice smooth end to the race. I didn't really want a safety car, because that's going to really put me on the back foot in this last stint. And now Grosjean's out of the race. Okay, that's dangerous. 2 retirements in a row. That might trigger something here. We're going to have to be on our toes here for a pit stop, so let's push a little bit just in case. 2 retirements in the space of a second. Let's have a look. Here's Charles Leclerc, who's pulled over to the left hand side, and I think we may have gotten away with it here, and I don't think there's going to be a safety car called out, as we're now going to pass Grosjean, who's the second retirement. So Sector 2 full of yellow flags right now. There's Grosjean on the right hand side in the Haas Monster Racing car, and there we go. No safety car, luckily, so we're good to go, and we're still going to hold on to first place, luckily. Right, on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Sainz has just gotten past Perez, and they've both had some pretty good pace. They've both been catching me, and my pace has been pretty poor on these soft tyres. It's nothing like the ultra softs, and a bit like qualifying, a bit mystified as to why I'm lacking pace in these tyres, but luckily I've been taking it easy, not pushing really hard, because obviously I pit on lap 8, so I've had to make these tyres last. The rears are going a little bit, and the lap times are not great, but I've done the job. I'm in first place, and right now I think Kubica's having a battle with Bottas, so I think ridiculous. It's not getting a podium here today, which is a right shame, but right now I think I'm going to take another 25 points, and Lewis Hamilton is out of this race, and Bottas is down the order, so I'm going to extend my championship lead, which is something I never thought I'd be saying, as we now go into the next race after this, which I believe is going to be Silverstone or Austria. So I never thought I'd be saying that right now. Alright, through the chicane, here we go, one last time. And there we go, run out to the line. I'm going to win the Canadian Grand Prix. And what a race that has been. An absolutely madness race. And literally all hell broke loose in that race here today. And that was something else. That crash was absolutely insane. I can't wait to watch that one back and see exactly what happened there. But wow, what a race. And big 25 points. And something I never thought I'd see at the end of the checkered flag this race. And wow. That was absolutely incredible, but as you can see, everybody's well happy, and we're now looking at the final race results. As you can see, I've come home in P1, beating Carlos Sainz. I mean, wow, he did really well to come back into second place there. He had a few issues that race, so it's me, Sainz, and then Sergio Perez, the real hero today, in the Force 1 in third place. So good job from him there today. Then Valtteri Bottas comes home in P4 for Mercedes, with Robert Kubica in a brilliant P5 from P16 on the grid. What a race from him there. And it had to be Canada, didn't it? It had to be Canada. Then Sebastian Vettel down in P6 after starting on second place. And then my teammate Fernando Alonso once again in P7. So him not moving, finishing where he started, with Felipe Massa in 8th, Verstappen in 9th, and Kvyat finally in P10 there. Nice recovery from P20 in the grid. And Ricciardo started on pole down in P13. So there you go, an official confirmation that Lewis actually DNF'd. And then obviously looking at the driver's standings now, I'm leading by 23 points ahead of Valtteri Bottas, which is absolutely incredible. Something I never thought I'd be saying, and I don't know how long it will last for, but you never know. And then obviously looking at our constructors, we're only 13 points behind Mercedes in the Audi car, which is unbelievable. Like, we're just, I don't know how it just keeps happening, but we're just doing our thing, and we keep surviving, and the car keeps performing here and there, and we're just getting the points. So yeah, I'm just really shocked. That was a really weird race, and right now things are looking absolutely brilliant for us. But nevertheless, guys, if you have enjoyed this really crazy episode of Career Mode, then please leave a big thumbs up on the video down below. Let's see if we can try and smash 150 likes for this crazy episode. And if you're new around here, why not subscribe to my channel for future F1 content, and also check out these videos on screen if you haven't done so already. But I thank you guys ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.